Life-saving equipment that talks to you is being unveiled in South Warwickshire today. Automated external defibrillators use a computerised voice to give instructions. They're being installed in the High Street in Ulster and in the town's schools. Steve Hayes from the organisation behind the idea says they can be used by virtually anyone.
When somebody suffers a sudden cardiac arrest, to shock the heart back into its normal rhythm, the heart isn't beating effectively, and that can happen to anyone. There's often no warning signs at all, so very different to a heart attack. The two are often confused.
And life-saving equipment that talks to you is, I'm not so sure about that one actually, I don't know my barbecue talking to me, is being unveiled in Ulster today. The automated external defibrillators, or the AEDs, thank goodness, use a computerised voice to talk people through their use, to help them to save lives for those who've had a cardiac arrest. They've been installed in the High Street, in Ulster's high and primary schools rather, as well as on the town's High Street. But how do they work, and can anybody really use them? Well, Steve Hayes, he's from the Shipston-based charity Arrhythmia Alliance. They're installing the machines, and he's here in the studio with a training version of the machine. Steve, morning, thanks for being with us.
Morning, Shane.
So this isn't actually, this is to all intents and purposes, like the real thing. But
exactly.
You can't hurt yourself with that one, basically,
that's
can you?
it, the thing. Yeah, well, you can't hurt yourself with the actual devices anyway. They only administer a shot when one's appropriate. But yeah, this is a training version of the AEDs, the devices that have been installed in Ulster. And as you said, Shane, they're really to save somebody in the event of a sudden cardiac arrest. This is a huge problem in the UK. 100,000 people a year die every year in the UK from sudden cardiac arrest. So we really have to get more of these devices into communities.
And this is something that in the US they're very keen on as well.
That's right.
They've realised the necessity for these kind of things. So you see more and more of these things pop up.
Exactly, yeah. Every sheriff's car in America, for example.
They all carry one, do they, as well? And I just wonder with these things, I mean, can anybody really use these? I mean,
Absolutely.
are they that simple?
Yeah, they talk you through the entire process from start to finish.
Just take us through. Start that one up, because you've got the training one.
So this is exactly what you would see. You can see it's a fairly small device, quite lightweight.
It's the size of a frisbee, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's the size of a frisbee in diameter, but
smaller than a lunchbox, very lightweight, easy to pick up, and this is exactly what, in the event of something happening in Ulster or wherever these devices are, the person would see this. There's a big green button, as you can see here, and you just press that. And
Training scenario 1. Adult patient. Call for medical assistance. Remove clothing from patient's chest to expose bare skin.
So it takes you all through.
Green tab to remove pads.
It takes you through, and then it waits for you to do it, does it?
Exactly, yeah. So it advises you to pull out the pads and then attach them to the chest as shown.
Peel pads from liner.
And you can see it walks you through literally every step of the process.
So that's incredible, isn't it?
Apply pads to patient's bare chest, as shown in picture. Press pads firmly to patient's bare skin.
And of course, what I always call the kachunka machine, you know, the kachunka in the thing. But it's not like that, isn't it?
No, that's it.
This particular one, you tape it onto the chest.
Yeah, and there's even a diagram on the pads to show you exactly where to put them.
Peel pads from liner.
Then what it will do is it will analyse the heart rhythm, and it will.
Heart rhythm. Do not touch the patient.
Okay. So it kind of, and then it'll wait for.
It actually has the technology within it
not touch the patient.
to analyse the patient's heart rhythm and assess whether a shock is necessary, because it won't always be, obviously.
Oh, so this is going to shock now, is it?
Stand clear of patient. Press the orange shock button now.
So it still doesn't do anything until you make it happen.
Exactly. So what's happened there is, obviously, because this is a training scenario, it's assuming that a shock will be needed.
Right.
But that's what would happen. It would assess the patient's heart rhythm.
Press the orange shock button.
I was going to say it's waiting for you to do it. Yeah, go on.
The middle button is flashing.
Shock delivered. Begin CPR.
And it's as simple as that. Yeah.
Brilliant, isn't it? And how much do those things cost? How much are they?
They vary in price. You're looking at anything really from upwards of about £1,000 to about £1,500, depending on the device. But you know, I think you can see there as well. There's a metronome to actually guide you through CPR.
So the CPR thing, yeah.
So, you know, for the life-saving potential of the devices, and the life-saving potential is absolutely huge.
How do people know that they're there? Because that's the key thing, isn't it? Is first of all is to know that they're there, and then not be frightened of using them in those kind of situations.
Exactly.
But how will they know? Will there be a big kind of sign that says we've got one of these things?
Yeah, there is. I mean, that's one of the big things with our sort of work, and particularly with our Hearts and Goals campaign, which is a campaign we've been running with Fabrice Muamba this year, is to get the devices in public places and to have them in cabinets which are easily recognisable. So the devices in Ulster, for example, are in locked bright green cabinets with signs saying AED.
Right.
And also we run awareness. So today there's a big launch in Ulster which will be about making the community aware that the devices are there, and as you say, breaking down that barrier and knowing that this device is a potential lifesaver. Anybody can save somebody's life with this. You don't have to be trained. You don't have to be a paramedic.
Do you know, just sitting here for a couple of minutes, I'd feel more confident using that now and wouldn't be as frightened of it, just actually seeing it. Listen, keep up the good work. Thanks for joining us and explaining that.
Thanks, Shane.
Steve Hayes there from the Shipston-based charity Arrhythmia Alliance joining us on the show. Well, we've been hearing today about these talking defibrillators that have been installed in Ulster by charity Arrhythmia Alliance as part of their Heart Rhythm Week. The group Steve Hayes brought one into the studio a little bit earlier for a demonstration.
Remove clothing from patient's chest to expose bare skin. Press pads firmly to patient's bare skin. Do not touch the patient.
Okay.
Press the orange shock button now.
Don't
Shock delivered.
don't I
Begin
sound-
CPR.
Don't I sound intelligent when I'm listening and being told that was me going, okay. One man who knows why they're so important, though, is Joe Sievier from Lower Quinton near Stratford. He joins us on the show. Morning, Joe.
Good morning, Shane. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you, more to the point? And what happened to you then?
Well, this all happened on the 7th of June 2011, and I was at a public meeting in the Lower Quinton Village Hall when I suddenly had a cardiac arrest. It was really my lucky day, because the day I had it, and I sort of keeled over, and I don't really remember anything about it, so what I'm telling you now is hearsay. But luckily there were a shed load of policemen there, all of whom, of course, first aid trained, 2 retired nursing sisters and a retired doctor.
Wow, that's the place to do it, isn't it, if you're going to have one?
Well, that's right. And so somebody took my pulse and sort of said there isn't one. The police were absolutely quite outstanding. They were the ones who saved my life, and to them I owe a considerable degree of debt of gratitude. And they sort of initiated the CPR, and then they sort of all had all their communication systems, so they got the wheels in motion to get all the emergency services there, and then, hey presto, I got the air ambulance to the Queen Elizabeth Hospital in Birmingham, and 7 weeks later I was discharged.
So, I mean, this idea, and I was saying, I remember reading an article a while ago talking about in the United States, they were saying, look, we're losing too many people unnecessarily because we haven't got the right equipment in the right place at the right time. I would have thought you'll be one of the people backing this and saying, what a great idea to get as many of these things out there as we can.
Well, that's beyond doubt. You know, but there is the argument, of course, is how long is a piece of string? You can't have these things on every street corner.
No.
But, I think that the system of what is, having these things in two or three in every village or area, so they're easily accessible, is actually first class. It's beyond doubt, and well, really, I'm a fine example of it.
Absolutely, yeah. I was going to say, without them, there, but for the grace of God. Joe, stay there. I want to bring in Trudie Lobban, who's the founder of Arrhythmia Alliance. Morning, Trudie. Thanks for your time this morning.
Morning.
I mean, Joe, people like Joe, I mean, owe their lives to this kind of technology.
Joe, who was also a personal friend of mine just by coincidence, but is so lucky. 100,000 people each year in the UK die from sudden cardiac arrest, and very few survive to tell the tale, as Joe has just shared with us. And so it's vitally important that we get defibrillators, AEDs, available 24/7 in communities. We have fire extinguishers, and yet only approximately 400 people a year die in a fire. As I said, 100,000 die from sudden cardiac arrest. So AEDs should be as common as fire extinguishers.
You're right. I mean, it's a mindset thing, isn't it? And I must admit, just seeing the one that Steve brought the training version in earlier on this morning, and just seeing that, you do feel automatically more confident, because you think, oh, okay, this is a machine. It's going to tell me exactly what to do, and you really can't go wrong, can you, with this?
Well, that's exactly it. You cannot harm anybody with an AED. It will only work if the person's heart has gone into a certain rhythm.
Yeah.
So if you put it on Joe today, it wouldn't work because his heart's beating well. So you cannot harm anyone. You cannot kill anyone with it. but you can save a life, and the machines tell you exactly what to do, so you don't have to have any training. Obviously, training makes you more confident, but you know, I was demonstrating it to my parents and my 4-year-old nephew. Let me have a go, and he was able to do it.
Yeah.
So it really is, anybody can use it, and it can save lives.
And what's...
Anyone want...
Sorry, I was just going to say,
become...
what's the plan, Trudie, with where you're going to put these? Because Joe makes a good point, doesn't he? You can't have these everywhere. But so, I mean, you're talking about schools, you're talking about the high street. What else is the plan for these devices?
We put them in cabinets that are linked to the local ambulance service. So you still dial 999, that's vitally important, and we work in partnership with the local ambulance service and the police. You dial 999, they tell you where the nearest cabinet is, so you can get the AED. So it's having it in all public places, outside. There's no point having it in an office, which closes at 5 o'clock. And yes, you know, outside of school, we all hear, sadly, of young children dropping dead playing football or whatever. With an AED, those deaths wouldn't occur in many cases. And having them outside the village hall, outside the pub, outside shopping centres, anywhere really where there are people. And obviously we need them in rural areas. I've placed one in my village, Newbold-on-Stour, Shipston, you know, the whole of Darlingskirk, Armskirk, that parish is completely covered now with AEDs. It's the first safe parish, heart-safe parish in the UK.
Incredible.
And so Ulster's now coming on board, and we want Warwickshire to become the first heart-safe county. So anyone with an AED already, if they could register it with us so we know where they are, and also anyone, you know, willing to find out more and approach us where they think there should be an AED, then please do so. And we will work with them or with a team of people and with the ambulance service to get more AEDs available 24/7 so that more lives like Joe can be saved.
Guys, great to talk to you. Thanks for being with us. Trudie Lobban there from the Arrhythmia Alliance, the founder, in actual fact, of the Arrhythmia Alliance. And before that, you heard Joe Sievier, who's from Lower Quinton near Stratford, owes his life to one.